The Idaho student murders became one of the most disturbing and heavily followed crime cases in recent American history. In the early morning hours of November 13, 2022, 4 university students were brutally murdered inside an off-campus rental house near the University of Idaho in the quiet town of Moscow, Idaho. What shocked people the most was not only the violence of the crime, but the fact that the killer disappeared afterward and remained unidentified for weeks, while fear spread across the entire country. The victims were Kaylee Goncalves, Madison Mogen, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin. They were young college students with close friendships, active social lives, and bright futures ahead of them. Friends described them as kind, energetic, and well-liked by nearly everyone around them. Their deaths would leave a permanent scar on the town and eventually become the center of one of the largest investigations in Idaho's history. The house where the murders happened was located on King Road, just minutes from campus. It was a 3-story student rental home, known for gatherings and parties, where friends regularly visited, and doors were often left unlocked. The layout of the house later became a major topic during the investigation because it had multiple levels, hidden angles, and a rear sliding glass door that investigators believed the killer used to enter unnoticed. On the night before the murders, the victims spent their evening like most college students do on a weekend. Kaylee and Madison went downtown and were later seen at a late-night food truck, laughing and ordering food together. Xana and Ethan attended a nearby fraternity party before returning home later in the night. Security footage and witness statements helped investigators piece together a timeline, showing that all 4 victims were back inside the house by approximately 2 a.m. 2 other roommates were also inside the home that night, sleeping on the lower floor, and they would survive the attack. According to investigators, the murders likely occurred between 4 o'clock and 4:25 in the morning. Police believe the killer entered through the sliding glass door at the back of the house, carrying a fixed-blade knife. The attacker allegedly moved through the home quietly and quickly. Kaylee and Madison were found together in an upstairs bedroom, while Xana and Ethan were discovered on the 2nd floor. Investigators later stated that some victims had defensive wounds, suggesting they fought back against the attacker. One chilling detail that changed the investigation was the discovery that Xana had still been awake shortly before the murders. Phone records reportedly showed she was active on TikTok minutes before investigators believed the attacks began. This detail suggested that at least one victim may have encountered the killer while fully conscious, making the attack even more horrifying. One of the most disturbing parts of the case involved the surviving roommate, who later described hearing strange noises during the night. At first, she believed someone upstairs was playing with a dog. Later, she reportedly heard crying and then heard a male voice say, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." When she opened her bedroom door again, she allegedly saw a masked man dressed in black walking past her toward the back exit of the house. She described him as having bushy eyebrows and wearing a mask that covered part of his face. After seeing the man, she reportedly froze in shock. What confused investigators and the public was that police were not called until nearly noon the next day. Friends reportedly arrived at the house before authorities were contacted, and initial confusion inside the home delayed the emergency response. Once officers entered the house, however, they quickly realized they were dealing with an extremely violent quadruple homicide. As news of the murders spread, the case quickly attracted national attention. The idea that 4 college students could be murdered in their own home while the killer escaped without immediately being caught terrified people across America. Students nationwide began locking doors, purchasing security cameras, and avoiding walking alone at night. Meanwhile, investigators faced intense pressure to solve the case quickly. Social media became flooded with theories, accusations, and speculation. Internet users analyzed surveillance videos, interviews, and social media posts searching for clues. Many innocent people were falsely accused online as the investigation continued. Despite receiving thousands of tips, investigators initially struggled to identify a suspect or clear motive. the investigation eventually turned toward a crucial piece of evidence found at the crime scene. Near one of the victims, investigators recovered a tan leather knife sheath. On the snap button of the sheath, forensic analysts discovered a single source of male DNA. At the same time, police also focused on surveillance footage showing a white Hyundai Elantra repeatedly driving near the victim's house during the early morning hours of the murders. Investigators publicly asked for help identifying the vehicle, believing it may belong to the killer or someone connected to the crime. That vehicle would eventually lead investigators to Bryan Kohberger, a criminology PhD student studying at Washington State University, located only a short drive from Moscow. According to investigators, Kohberger's phone records allegedly showed multiple late-night trips near the victim's residence before the murders. Police believed he may have surveilled the house over a period of time. Investigators also stated that his phone stopped reporting to nearby cell towers during the estimated time of the murders before becoming active again later that morning. Surveillance footage and traffic cameras allegedly tracked a white Hyundai Elantra matching his vehicle traveling through the area around the time of the attacks. Eventually, DNA recovered from the knife sheath was allegedly linked to Kohberger through genetic genealogy and later confirmed through direct comparison. After weeks of investigation and surveillance, authorities arrested Bryan Kohberger at his parents' home in Pennsylvania on December 30th, 2022. The arrest shocked the nation because the suspect was not a known violent criminal, but a graduate student studying criminology and criminal behavior. Many people became fascinated by the psychological aspect of the case. Questions immediately emerged about whether the suspect had been obsessed with crime, whether the victims had been specifically targeted, and whether he believed he could commit the perfect murder without getting caught. However, despite the arrest, many mysteries surrounding the case remain unanswered. Investigators have never publicly revealed a confirmed motive, and many people continue debating why the victims were chosen and why the surviving roommates were spared. The case remains deeply unsettling because of how ordinary everything seemed before the violence began. 4 friends returned home after a normal night out, unaware that someone may have been watching them and waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Eventually, the King Road house where the murders occurred was demolished. For many people in Moscow, the building had become a painful symbol of tragedy and fear. Yet even after the structure disappeared, the story continued haunting millions of people who followed the investigation closely. The Idaho student murders became more than just a criminal case. They became a reminder of how quickly normal life can turn into horror. The combination of surviving witnesses, hidden movements, forensic evidence, and weeks of uncertainty turned the investigation into one of the most talked about true crime cases in modern America. Even today, people continue analyzing the timeline, evidence, and unanswered questions surrounding the murders. And for many, the most terrifying part is realizing that for weeks after the crime, the person accused of committing the murders allegedly continued living an ordinary life while investigators desperately searched for answers.